So we are finishing up our notes from 7.4. In the first day's video, we were approximating our square roots, and now we're learning how to write a repeating decimal as a fraction. All right, so step one says to write the equation x equals to whatever your repeating decimal is. So we're going to do number one. So x is equal to 0.1 repeating. Step two says to multiply each side by 10 to some power to form a new equation, where n is how many digits they're repeating. So since there's one digit repeating, we're going to multiply just by 10. If there were two digits repeating, we'd multiply by 100. So when we multiply both sides by 10, so times 10 on both sides, we get 10x is equal to 1.1 repeating. Step three says subtract the original equation from this new equation. So I'm going to do minus 1x and minus 0.1 repeating. When I do that, I get 9x is equal to, well, the 0.1 repeating cancels out, so it's equal to 1. Then I just solve that equation for step 4. So dividing by 9, which means x is equal to 1/9. So let's try number 2. So first we write x is equal to our repeating decimal. Then we multiply by 10 because there's one digit that's repeating. So when we multiply by 10, that moves the decimal over 1 places. So we have negative 5.5 repeating. And now we subtract the original equation. So minus an x. And then we do minus a negative, which is the same thing as plus a positive. 0.5 repeating. So 10x minus x is 9x. And negative 0.5 repeating plus 0.5 repeating is negative 0.5. The repeating of the 0.5 cancels out. And then we divide both sides by 9. And we get x is equal to negative 5/9. All right, let's do one more where we have it to the 10th place. So we have x is equal to our repeating decimal. So negative 1.2 repeating. Because there's one decimal repeating, we're multiplying by 10. So that becomes 10 is equal to negative 12.2 repeating. So negative 12.2 repeating. Now we subtract the original one. So I'm going to subtract an x. And then when I do minus a negative 1.2 repeating, that's the same thing as plus a positive 1.2 repeating. So I get 9x is equal to, well, our 0.2's cancel out, and that would become a negative 11. When I divide both sides by 9, I get x is equal to negative 11/9. So the only thing that's different when we have two numbers that are repeating is we're going to multiply both sides by 100 instead of by 10. If we had three numbers repeating, we'd multiply both sides by 1,000 instead of by 10 or by 100. So I'm going to start by doing x is equal to the negative 0.43 repeating. I'm going to multiply both sides by 100 this time. And that would make it a negative 43.43 repeating. When I subtract the original one away, minus a negative is the same thing as plus a positive. I get 99x is equal to a negative 43. When I divide both sides by 99, I get x is equal to negative 43/99. So let's do one more to make sure we've got it. Let's just do number 9. Go ahead and pause it, try it on your own, and then come back and check and see how you did. All right, so I'm going to start with x is equal to 0.27 repeating. Because two digits are repeating, I'm multiplying by 100, which will make it 27.27 repeating. Then I subtract the original away, which gives me 99x equals, my 0.27 repeatings cancel out, so that becomes 27. When I divide by 99, I'll get my final answer. So I get x is equal to 27/99. All right, so this was the extension, some additional concepts that go with our 7.4 notes. So take a second and write a summary. If you didn't write a summary for yesterday's on approximating square roots, make sure you do summarize that today. Make sure you go back and summarize that. Make sure you still remember how to approximate your square roots, and then make sure you summarize how to write a repeating decimal as a fraction. Anything you have questions on, make sure and star it so that you get those questions answered. Same thing, but now you can see that there is a little bit more involved. So we're going to do number 7 and we're going to do number 9 to show the difference between these two. Okay, so we're still going to write our equation. X is equal to our number. Only the 3 is repeating, so we're still just going to multiply by 10. So then that would become a 4.3 repeating. When I subtract away my original equation, minus x and minus 0.43 repeating, let's see. We actually want to multiply by 100 on this one. I'm going to change this. This will make it a little bit easier. So when we do that, let me erase. Give it a second to erase. Sorry, I don't know why it's not erasing very quickly. Okay, so that will give us 43.3 repeating. Okay, so the reason I changed it, even only one number is repeating, there are 2 numbers after the decimal, and I want just what is repeating to be after the decimal. So when I multiply by 100 and then I subtract away the original x, that will give me 99x. And then when I subtract away the 0.43,